Efficiently managing long term data is becoming increasingly challenging for modern applications, especially as storage requirements grow and access frequency decreases. Vultr Archival Object Storage tackles this by offering a low cost cold storage tier within Vultr Object Storage, designed to automatically transition infrequently accessed data to a cheaper storage class over time. Hello everyone, I am Shivang Shandilya from Developer Relations at Vultr, and in today's Tech Talk, we'll explore Vultr Archival Object Storage, a cost effective solution for long term cold data storage. We'll provision a dedicated Vultr Archival tier subscription and then look at how to enable archival transitions for selected buckets within an existing standard object storage subscription using custom lifecycle policies. So, let's get started. Vultr Archival Storage is designed for cost effective long term cold data storage, making it ideal for backups and infrequently accessed data. Objects are stored under the Vultr Archive storage class, which significantly reduces storage costs compared to the standard tiers. A default lifecycle policy is enforced across all buckets, allowing data to automatically transition into the archival storage without any manual effort. The base price for the Vultr archival storage starts at $6 per month, which includes 1000 GB of archival storage, 100 GB of unarchived storage, and 1 TB of bandwidth. Although, do note that the pricing may change in future. With Vultr Standard Object Storage, you have the option to enable or disable the archival storage at the bucket level. This gives you more granular control compared to the archival tier subscription, allowing you to choose exactly which buckets participate in the archival storage. Using custom lifecycle policies, you can automate the transition of objects based on the specific conditions, such as size, prefix, or even a combination of both. This means that only selected data will move into the Vultr Archive storage class, while the rest of the data remains in the standard storage. As a result, a single bucket can simultaneously hold both active and archived objects, helping you balance accessibility and cost. Archive data in this configuration is billed at $0.006 per GB per month, in addition to the standard subscription cost, making it cost-effective option for managing less frequently accessed data. Although, please keep in mind that this pricing may change in the future. If you decide to disable the archival storage on a bucket, the associated lifecycle policy is removed and a background process begins, moving all the archived objects back to the standard storage. The duration of this process may vary depending on the volume of the data involved. I think it's time. We discuss some use cases for Vultr archival object storage, starting with compliance and legal data retention. It can be used to keep records, contracts, and regulatory documents secure for required periods without filling up the primary storage. In healthcare, patient records, medical imaging, and historical health data can be preserved safely and accessed when needed for audits or future treatment, all at a lower cost than the standard storage. It is also ideal for long term backup retention, allowing businesses to store months or years of past backups as a safety net against data loss or disasters. For observability data, logs, metrics, and monitoring information can be archived once immediate analysis is complete, keeping data available for trend analysis or debugging, while freeing up high performance storage for active workloads. This combination of security, accessibility, and cost efficiency makes Vultr Archival Object Storage a versatile solution for many such use cases. Now that we have preliminary information about Vultr Archival Object Storage, let's see it in action with a hands on demo. In the next segment, Sanskriti will cover two scenarios for cost effective cold storage. The first is provisioning a new standalone Vultr Archival Object Storage, and the second is managing archival transitions for selected buckets within an existing Vultr standard object storage subscription. We'll also walk through how to restore archived objects when needed. So let's get right into it.
Hi everyone. As we discussed, there are two ways to go about archiving cold objects on Vultr. Let's walk through both, starting with provisioning a dedicated Vultr Archival Object Storage subscription. To do this, open Vultr console and navigate to the Object Storage section under Storage in the left sidebar. Here, I already have two subscriptions active on my account. But if you have none, you'll see a prompt in the center of the screen to create your first one. Otherwise, go ahead and click Create Object Storage on the top right corner to proceed. The first thing you select here is tier. Choose Archival Object Storage if your entire use case is cold storage from the start, meaning no active data living alongside archive, and you want the simplest, lowest flat cost at $6 a month with no overhead of a mixed hot and cold access pattern. This includes 1000 GB of archived storage, 1 TB of outbound bandwidth, and 100 GB of unarchived storage. If you wish to learn more about other available tiers, then check out our previous tech talk on Vultr Object Storage linked in the description below. Next, give your subscription a name and select a region closest to you for lower latency. Once done, review the summary and click Create Object Storage. Now that our subscription is active, click on it to open its management page. Here, the Overview tab surfaces the key S3 connection details you will need when pairing this subscription with tools like AWS CLI, Photo3, S3CMD, or any other S3 compatible client to perform operations. The usage data section, on the other hand, lets you monitor your bandwidth, unarchived storage, and archived storage, which is useful for keeping track of where you stand against the included limits. Coming to the Buckets tab, buckets are logical containers where your objects live, more like a top level folder that hold your data inside the subscription. To create one, simply click Create Bucket. Then provide a name following the naming conventions mentioned here. Once done, click Create Bucket. Upon successful creation, you can either use an S3 client to manage your objects inside it or use Vultr Console directly for basic operations. Let's click on the bucket. Here you can organize your objects by creating a folder first, provide it a name, and hit create. Once created, open the folder. Now let's upload an object to it. Click Upload and select your target file by clicking Choose Files. Once selected, click Upload. And there we go, our object is stored. To fetch further details of this object, click this three-dot menu and select See Details. Here you'll notice that the access is set to private by default, meaning this object's ACL is restricted and is only accessible using valid S3 credentials. If you want to make it publicly accessible to anyone using the link, then toggle the permission to public, copy the generated URL, and save changes. Now, let's open the URL in a new tab. As we can see, our stored object loads successfully and is accessible to anyone from anywhere. At the end of the day, what separates this tier from the rest is the underlying storage architecture. Purpose built for cold data, trading raw performance for significantly lower cost. You can still read and write objects freely, just without the speed guarantees of the higher tiers. With that, let's take a look at the second approach. This is applicable only in the standard object storage tier. Open your existing standard tier subscription and navigate to the bucket section. Here I have one bucket. Inside it are two folders. One is labeled cold data because inside it I have objects that are not frequently accessed. So to archive the cold objects present in this bucket, click the wrench icon. Here you'll see an option to enable archival storage. But before you do that, one critical prerequisite is that the bucket must never have had versioning enabled. Enabling versioning permanently disqualifies the bucket from archival storage, regardless of whether versioning is later disabled. Conversely, if archival storage is disabled on a bucket, versioning can then be enabled. But that bucket can never be enrolled in archival storage again. So, Once you have confirmed versioning has never been enabled on the bucket, go ahead and enable archival storage and click Save Changes. As soon as archival storage is enabled on the bucket, a lifecycle policy is defined and applied to transition objects in it from a standard storage class to Vultr Archive storage class. In order to customize that policy, click the wrench icon again. The current policy archives all the objects present in the bucket, but we can tailor this to archive only specific objects that we want. I've updated the policy to include filters. Let's click on Expand to get a better view. You can target a specific objects to archive by prefix like a folder, filter by size, or a combination of both. In our case, we are targeting objects greater than 1 GB inside the cold data prefix. The day's value is set to 0, which means there is no additional waiting period on top of the evaluation schedule. Lifecycle policies are executed once daily at midnight UTC. At this point, objects matching policy filters are queued for transition from a standard to Vultr Archive storage class. Once the policy is as per your need, save the changes made. The updated lifecycle policy is now active on this bucket. In the future, if you ever wish to restore the archived objects, you can do so using S3 compatible clients such as AWS CLI or S3 CMD by issuing a restore request and then downloading it. The guide that outlines the steps to perform this process is linked in the description below, which you can refer at any given time. Beside this, one geographic detail worth noting is that archival storage keeps your archived objects in the same region as your Vultr object storage subscription for most locations. However, if your subscription is in Singapore, Delhi NCR, or Bangalore, archived objects are stored in Netherlands instead. In this way, Vultr gives you two distinct approaches to archiving cold data. So pick the one that suits the best and let Vultr handle the rest. To keep tabs on latest updates and details on Vultr Archival Object Storage, refer to the product and support documentation attached in the description of this tech talk.
To summarize, Vultr Archival Object Storage provides a cost effective long term solution for storing cold or infrequently accessed data, with flexible lifecycle policies and automated object transitions that help you optimize storage costs. Whether you are archiving backups, compliance records, healthcare information, or observability data, Vultr makes it simple to manage and retain your data securely over time. If you are ready to try this yourself, enable archival storage on your Vultr object storage buckets and start managing your data efficiently today. To get started, claim $250 in free credits on a new Vultr account using the promo link attached in the description below. For any questions or to connect with the developers, join the discussion on the Vultr community forum. Thank you for watching, and we hope this tech talk helps you make the most of Vultr archival storage capabilities for your long term data needs.